The followers of Apostle Joshua Selman, they are finding it hard to accept or believe that their spiritual father is in one way or the other compromised. The question that I've been getting from the majority of them is Apostle Joshua Selman really captured by the occultic mafia? Okay, before we answer that question, let's watch this very short snippet from his own initiation.
That I'm giving out to certain specific individuals, and one is for you in bridging the gap between the old and the new generation.
Sincerely grateful. Thank you very, very much. This is an honor, Ghana. Papa, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Put your hands together, you can do better than that.
I want you to pause this video and rewind. The reason why I want you to rewind is so that you can observe and listen carefully to what Duncan Williams said when he was about to hand over this Masonic sword to Apostle Joshua Selman. Don't tell me that it's the sword of David. I've been seeing some mugus here trying to relate this Masonic sword as a symbol or identifying it as a symbol of the gospel. Where in the Bible did Christ ever hand it over a sword to anyone?
Good question.
For what
Very
reason?
Good question.
What doctrine? What spiritual significance does a sword represent? Especially this type of a sword. I want you to pause this video, rewind, and listen carefully, attentively to what Duncan Williams said. Because what's important are the words that come out of his mouth as he was handing over the sword.
That I'm giving out to certain specific individuals, and one is for you in bridging the gap between the old and the new generation.
I don't know if you got it, but let me just put it in context. Duncan Williams specifically said, I'm giving out this sword to specific individuals. He's not just handing them over to all his spiritual sons or random spiritual sons, but he is handing them over to specific individuals. On this day, there were only two specific individuals that received this Masonic sword, that were participating in this initiation ritual. These things have been happening right before your eyes. We have just not been paying attention. The second thing that I wanted you to observe or listen to was when he said, I'm handing you over this sword so that we can bridge the gap between the old and the new generation. What gap? So that we can bridge the gap between the old and the new generation. What gap is there to bridge? And how does a Masonic sword bridge that gap? Think about it. Think through it. What gap is Duncan Williams bridging with the Masonic sword that he is handing over to Joshua Selman? What gap? The gap of what? Where in the scripture does it entail that there's a gap that needs to be bridged? Where? Just open one verse from the Bible that says, when there's need to bridge a gap, a sword must be exchanged. Where in the Bible does it say there's a gap that needs to be bridged? If there's any gap that could have been or that should have been bridged, I believe Christ bridged it already. What of the sacrifices that he made on the cross? They are being rendered useless by these rituals that you keep on celebrating in ignorance. We are bridging the gap between the old and the new. The old what? I told you it's a network. And this was a covenant. And my brother, okay, your spiritual father, was compromised on this day. They caught him unaware. Which brings us to the point 3. Third observation that I wanted you to pay attention to. He was not ready. That we can both tell. Selman was not ready for this. How he received the sword, of course, he just had to appreciate it. Thank you, Papa. It is such an honor. But it was at that point, when he saw the sword and when it was handed over to him, that's when he realized that he messed up. That's when he realized that he was set up.
You're very right.
He did not even hold it for a minute. He had to move it as soon as possible because he knew it, that this was not what he signed up for. I told you they're called the occultic mafia. They will get you when you least expect it. There is nothing for free. The stage he was standing on, stayed on an auditorium of thousands and thousands of people. You think they'll just open big doors, big platforms for you for free? Nada. There's a price that one has to pay. And I know he will never come out of this thing. You can pray for him as his sons and daughters, but he will never come out of this thing. This thing, you don't come out of it. The day he gives this sword back publicly, that's the day I'll give him a 5-star rating. And start believing that he was not happy or he has cut ties with everything and anything that connects him to this occultic network. Otherwise, as for now, he's just a subject to the godfathers of this network. Duncan Williams has Apostle Joshua Selman on a tight leash. There's nothing he can do. I don't know if he finally got married. I don't know. I don't want to conclude on that or analyze anything about it. I don't know if he finally got married. And I don't know if he now has a child. I don't even know if he does have. But there are repercussions to these things. And to those of you who have been asking, okay, so because there are some people who had not seen this ritual, this initiation, because I was under the belief that everyone saw it. I was under the belief that everyone is aware of it. So I just had to bring it back for the sake of me proving it to people who are of little faith, the Thomases out there that are still clinging on the cloth of their spiritual fathers, who still don't believe that this occultic network is real, that you don't get to be big in these circles unless you're part of their network. So yeah, you can keep praying for him if you want, but he reached already a point of no return. So yeah, to those of you that were asking, that's the video of his initiation with the Masonic sword by the kingpin, Duncan Williams himself, the father of all nations. He's not the main guy, Duncan. Duncan is also an errand boy to the big boys, but he's the one responsible for recruiting all these juniors. All your prophets have gone through Duncan, all of them. Any of your prophets with that golden ring or with that Masonic sword, they went through Duncan. And I hope you know Duncan's history, or you know Duncan's father's history. Duncan's father, like his biological father. Should I go deeper or should we hold it right there? Let's say, okay, for now, let's just focus on Joshua Selman. I don't know if you still have anything more to add or to say about your spiritual father, Joshua Selman, but I think I've made my point clear.
Yes.
So in the next episodes, we'll be exploring all the prophets, pastors, and bishops who are captured by the occultic mafia, who are part of the syndicate. So till I meet you again on the next episode of the Enlightenment series, it's Mr. PDT, and I'm out.